This is my third time getting on. Nobody was on.
Oh my, what's going on today?
I don't
You know
know.
what? I'm gonna go get a cup of tea. I'll
Maybe,
be right back.
maybe they thought because Cheryl's not here that there was no class.
Oh, she's not coming, she said?
Cheryl had surgery yesterday on her shoulder.
Oh, okay, I forgot about
I
that.
thought the class was canceled. I read ahead, so I mean, I'm willing to work with you if you want. If not, we'll just, if nobody else, I'm trying to find everybody's number. All right, go get tea.
Okay. I need to get something. I'm coughing.
Anyway, all right, go ahead.
No, that's me calling you, Tina, because nobody was on, so I started to call. You're muted.
Hi.
I just started to call you because I got on and nobody was on, so I
I
went.
didn't even see it. I was on with my daughter.
Oh, okay.
And,
No, and I'm gonna call, I don't have Mark's number here.
let me see, I might have Mark's number.
I'll call Ted. Usually comes on later, because I forced myself out of bed because I'm sick, so.
Oh my God, do you want to not do it?
No, it's just a head cold. I don't have any fever or anything.
I have Mark's number. Do you want me to call him?
Yeah, and I'm calling Ted. And somebody, can you call
I can
Judy?
call Judy. Okay, if I have her number, I'll call her.
I have it, but
Let me just look.
uh,
I think I do because she used to call when she couldn't get into the into the building for somebody to open up the door.
Mark, good morning. It's Tina from Hillcrest. Are you joining the class this morning?
Oh no, I'm under the weather.
Oh, I'm
sounds
sorry.
like
You don't
me.
feel well, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't wake you, but you know, it's just Gail and Iris and myself. We were wondering
Hi,
who else might be
hi,
coming on.
Judy. It's
All right,
Iris.
I'm so sorry that I
I was
woke
wondering
you.
if you're coming to
Feel
class
better.
today.
Feel better.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Let us know. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Oh, he feels terrible. I feel bad. I think I woke him.
Oh. Judy, it just went to voicemail, so I left a message.
She sometimes comes in like 15 minutes late, so I don't know.
Right, bye. Yeah, I almost didn't come on because I've been sick since Monday night, so I don't have any fever. It's Mark, it's probably like what Mark has.
Well, he's in Florida though.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. It goes around wherever.
Yeah, that's true.
You
Did
know.
anybody hear anything about
Cheryl?
what? About Cheryl, yeah.
No.
Should I call Richie?
No, she had surgery yesterday.
I know, but he might be able to tell us.
Oh, but
Yeah.
8:30 in the
All
morning.
right, I won't bother him.
Yeah.
Never
Too
mind.
early. It's too early. I'm willing to do this. Because I read ahead. And we can do a quick summary. We can do a summary for the people who weren't here.
Whatever, I'm here if you want.
Yeah, I'm here too.
I don't care one way or the
I
other.
made the effort to get up, so I feel like, I'll go back to sleep after the class. But then I don't sleep, so what do you want to do? You tell me.
Iris,
Yeah,
what
we
do you
can do
think?
it.
All
We can
right,
do it, it's fine.
okay.
I'll try to start reading, because since I read ahead, what,
Unless you want me to read and you can fill in as,
all right, I don't, yeah,
you prefer to read.
yeah, I'll try.
Okay,
I'll start, and then if I
Gail
can't.
prefers reading because it's,
yes, okay.
I prefer that.
Yeah, no,
I don't mind doing the reading, but I don't,
yeah, but I have to put a light
I
on.
don't focus on what I'm reading.
I know, Wednesday, when nobody raised their hand to read for Rabbi Kogan, and
I feel bad all the time.
I felt bad for him, so I said, okay, I'll read. Meanwhile, I had started a soup in the kitchen
Oh.
on high and forgot about it. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh no. I ran, my whole soup burned and
Oh,
it burned and the pot was like, I was ready to throw it out, but my neighbor told me to put in some baking soda and vinegar and water, and I was able to
Oh, but
scrape off.
really?
What I do, somebody told me this, when a pot burns or a pot gets very, sticky or whatever, it's greasy. I use the gel packs now, for the dishwasher. I just make sure there's an OU on it. I still buy a box of the powder. So I put the powder in. I do it for everything, for frying pans, and I put powder in, I put soap in, water, and let it sit for a little bit, and it just slides off.
You're kidding.
Really?
And the same thing, I make string beans and eggs and onions all the time. And the last time, all of a sudden I said, oh, the bottom of the pot was burning. And it was sticking all over this. I salvaged what was on top, and I did that, and I let it sit for a few hours, and it comes off.
Wow.
Sometimes you might have to use some Geffen Brillo pear, though, I call it.
You put hot water on with it?
Yeah, you can put hot water, but it sits there, it'll cool down anyway. But it's the powder and the soap and
No,
then,
no, I'm saying, but do you do it dry or you do it wet?
no, I put the powder dry, I put the liquid wet, and then I put the water on top.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, right.
And then let it sit for as long as you need to let it sit. You might still have to use some kind of a scrub pad afterwards to get it off, but it saves the pot.
Wow, that's
I
interesting.
used a rubber spatula and I got it all off, and I'm like, wow, it's brand new.
Something is really,
But I had to make the soup over again.
something is very greasy. Something is very greasy, I do it because it degreases it.
Right. Hi,
Sometimes
Judy.
sometimes you watch
Hi,
it
how are you?
and it still feels.
Hi, Judy.
Hi.
Good morning.
So here I am, I'm trying to do a good deed and I've ruined my soup.
I wanted to read, but I couldn't because,
You weren't feeling well.
So on the bottom of page 346, the sugya is a discussion that's brought up by Rav Nachman, and he's sitting with the group again. And this is what is a ger toshav. They're going to be talking about a ger toshav, and on the next page, there's going to be a machlochet amongst three, the Rabbi Meir, the rabbis, and others. So it's just going to be talking about what is a ger toshav. So I thought maybe we'd read the background and the halacha first, the background first, and the maybe we'll start because then we'll have the answer before we read. Gemara mentions another discussion among Rav Nachman, Ula, Avnimi bar Papi, and Rav Chia bar Ami. They were sitting again, and a dilemma was raised before them. With regard to a Gentile who resides in Eretz Yisrael and observes the 7 Noahide mitzvot, ger toshav, including the prohibition against engaging in idol worship, what is the halacha with regard to the possibility that he can revoke the status of objects of idol worship? So that's the question, whether a ger toshav can revoke the status of idol worship. Everybody remember the all the Noahide laws, the 7?
This, I have them written down.
I have them written down here too. There are 6 prohibitions and 1 obligation. Not to curse God, not to worship idols, not to commit adultery or sexual immorality, not to commit murder, not to steal, not to eat the blood of a live animal, and the obligation is to establish courts of justice.
Right, that, for some reason, I remember that one.
Yeah, because it's an obligation. It's not telling
Yeah,
you to do
yeah.
something, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it the case that one who worships idols can revoke the status of one, but one who does not worship them cannot revoke the status of one? Or perhaps should it be reasoned that anyone who is of the same kind as idol worshippers, that is, a Gentile, can revoke its status, and a ger toshav of the same kind as idol worshippers? So a ger toshav who wants to live in Israel, the background at the bottom, a Gentile who seeks to reside permanently in Eretz Yisrael is required to accept and observe certain mitzvot. There are several opinions with regard to the extent of the commitment required. Some authorities require only acceptance of the prohibition against idol worship. Others require him to observe virtually all the prohibitions, with the exception of the prohibitions against consumption of certain foods. That means he could eat the carcasses of most opinions require him to observe the 7 Noahide mitzvot. Should I read the halacha now or wait?
You can read it.
ahead, you can read it.
Yeah,
One who does not worship cannot revoke it. A Gentile who does not worship idols, example, a ger toshav, cannot nullify objects of idol worship in accordance with the statement of Rav Nachman. The Rema, citing the Beit Yosef, rules that because of this, Muslims who are not idolaters cannot nullify objects of idol worship. So they're going to say, no, he can't. But the discussion is now going to go back and forth. Can he or can't he? Rav Nachman said to them, it stands to reason that one who worships idols can revoke the status of one, but one who does not worship them cannot revoke the status of one. Meitive, that's another word I like, meitive. The Gemara raises an objection to this ruling from a Baraita. In the case of a Jew who found an object of idol worship in the marketplace, as long as it has not yet come into his possession, he can tell a Gentile, and the Gentile can revoke its idolatrous status. Once it has come into his possession, he cannot tell a Gentile and have the Gentile revoke its status. This applies to any Gentile because the sages said, a Gentile can revoke the status of his own object of idol worship or that of another Gentile, whether he worships it or whether he does not worship it. What is meant by the phrase worships it, and what is meant by the phrase does not worship it? If we say both this and that, if we say both this and that are referring to a Gentile, this is the same as the previous statement in the Baraita, that a Gentile can revoke the status of his own object of idol worship or that of another Gentile, that is, an object that he worships or one that another Gentile worships. Rather, isn't it to be understood that the phrase worships it, referring to a Gentile? It's kind of awkward English here, but and what is the meaning of the phrase does not worship it? It is referring to a ger toshav who does not worship any idols, and learn from it that a ger toshav can also revoke the status of objects of idol worship.
Can you
And,
stop a second? What does that mean, though, to revoke the status of objects of idol worship? How do they do that?
I don't know, I mean, to cancel the status of the idol worship, that no
It's
longer.
not an idol anymore. We don't like
That
it.
it's not an idol, that revoke means to cancel, so
Right,
that
okay.
cancel the status of the
So they
idol.
say, okay, it's not really, we don't want to worship this
Idol
thing
anymore,
anymore.
I'm not worshiping you. But let's go back, Rab Nachman. So here it says, so here, and learn from this, that a ger toshav can also revoke the status of objects of idol worship. And Rab Nachman said, no go, you cannot. So that's what's going to go back and forth. All right, the Gemara rejects this explanation. So does Rab Nachman. No, actually, I will say to you that this phrase and that phrase, that meaning he worships it, he doesn't worship it, are both referring to a Gentile. And with regard to that which you say, that this is the same as the statement concerning his object of idol worship, or that of another Gentile, it can be explained as follows. The first clause is referring to a case where both Gentiles worship the same idol. This one and that one both worship Peor, or this one and that one both worship Mercury. And the Baraita is teaching that one can revoke the status of an idol that belongs to the other, as long as they're worshiping the same idol. That's what they're saying here. The latter clause, which distinguishes between one who worships it and one who does not worship it, is referring to a case where this one worships Peor and that one worships Mercury, indicating that an idolater can revoke the status of an idol that he does not worship at all, but only if he himself is an idolater, as opposed to a ger toshav. Okay, any questions there? So if they worship the same idol, they can revoke it, but even if they worship different idols, as long as they're both idolaters, they can revoke it. That's how I'm understanding it. Anybody see something different?
Yeah, no, that's what I understand.
Yeah.
too. Although it doesn't make sense, but
No, and they're not going to follow it anyway. So
Right.
another objection, Metive. So now it's going to say what makes the next three paragraphs are going to say what makes someone a ger toshav. So the first opinion is Rabbi Meir. The Gemara raises an objection from a Baraita. Who is a ger toshav? It is anyone who has accepted upon himself before three chaverim, that is, people devoted to the meticulous observance of mitzvot, especially halachot, of ritual purity, teruma, and tithes, not to worship idols. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. Remember the chaver was the opposite of the am haaretz.
Alright.
People will say ignoramus, or somebody who's ignorant, but somebody who did not follow or didn't the halacha. So the second opinion comes from the rabbis, and the rabbis say anyone who has accepted upon himself observance of the 7 mitzvot that the descendants of Noah accepted upon themselves is a ger toshav. So that's kind of the standard, if they took upon themselves the Noahide laws.
I never understood, excuse me, when we learned it before in what was we finished, Iris, what? Judy, the other,
Sotah and the Sotah.
no, hold
That's
on.
coming next. Sanhedrin?
Sanhedrin, right,
Sanhedrin.
yeah, Sanhedrin. So I never understood how the Jewish people could enforce the laws, these 7 laws. I just don't understand that. Of the
You mean of the Gentiles?
Noahides, of the Noahides.
For everybody or the Gentiles? Or what do
No,
you-
the Gentile, like whoever is a Noahide, right?
Yeah, because they wanted to live in Eretz Yisrael, and in order to live in Eretz Yisrael, if they didn't follow it, then, I don't know if they were
Then
kicked.
what? Yeah,
or-
then what? They're not Jews. So-
No, I don't know about that part of it, but but the thing is, if they wanted to, like a slave in your home, they had to follow the mitzvot. They weren't circumcised, but they had to follow the mitzvot if they wanted to, work in your household. So I guess this, from the way I see it, I don't know if anybody sees it.
Which I don't understand either, because if somebody's not Jewish, they're working for you. You would think that, let's say on Shabbat, that you want them to do work to serve you or whatever, and
You're muted.
Iris.
You're not supposed to have Gentiles work for you on Shabbat. I
I
mean, the
know,
rabbi
I
always
know.
says that.
I know, but
Right,
you can have Jews, doing work, like at a catering hall on Shabbat.
Right, that's true.
You're not
I don't know how you get around, I still
Yeah,
don't
you're not
understand how you
supposed
get
to,
around it.
you're not supposed to, like, if on Shabbat. I was the office manager in a synagogue after I retired from teaching and mentoring. They asked me if I wanted to do that, so I did that for 10 years. And it's like, and I worship there. So on Shabbat, if I would say to one of the porters, oh, I left something in my car, here are my keys, can you go get it? I couldn't do that. I
Right.
couldn't ask him to do it. I used to go, now we do everything on email, but if I tell you, I was almost a one person show, doing mailing after mailing after mailing after mailing, including doing an in-house bulletin. I printed it in-house. So I had the bins in the trunk all the time. And I wanted to get them out of, if I wanted to get them out of my car or whatever. I did drive to synagogue because it was after my knee surgeries, it was too far to walk. So, I couldn't do the walking. Now I probably could, but you just can't do it. So I think it's just that if they wanted to live there, they had to abide by the rules, and if they
Yeah,
didn't,
I guess.
Could you, okay, so don't murder, don't steal, don't eat parts of live animals, no adultery. What were the
No,
other?
no, don't blaspheme. Don't curse God.
Blasphemy, okay.
Don't steal, don't murder. And the obligation is to establish a court of justice.
Okay,
So
I
they're
do-
allowed to work on Shabbat.
What?
The Noahide laws did not stop them from working on Shabbat.
No, they're not, they didn't say anything here. These are the only,
I
these,
suppose if you asked them ahead of time to do something on Shabbat, you
Right.
could, but not on
Or
Shabbat.
if you don't ask them and they just do it, it's okay also,
That's true too.
If they know to do it, yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
like,
to do
I mean,
it-
if like those who come to serve Kiddush.
yeah, I was just gonna bring
after-
that up.
That's
They
what I'm
know
saying.
that that's their job and you don't ask them to do it. They just know that
They know it's there and they do it.
to do.
Right,
No.
they put out the kiddush, they clean up.
Right,
And then when there were people who started picking up trays, putting it in the kitchen, I would tell them to please stop. The people were starting, they wanted to help and clean up and do. And I said, just leave them to do what they're doing, because everybody was starting to, feel sorry for them. But A, that was their job. B, the people weren't supposed to start doing that. And then actually they would get upset because people would just put it anywhere. When they would clean up, they had their, spot to put all the things, and then it was a easier cleanup. But yeah, so you have all 7 now?
I'm still missing one. I have.
All right.
okay, Don't murder, don't steal, don't eat parts of live animals, no adultery, no blasphemy, don't curse God, you said. I think that was one of them. Or is that part of blasphemy?
No, that was, don't curse God. That's one of them.
Okay. so
Don't
that's
worship
different.
idols. Don't worship
Oh,
idols.
okay, don't worship idols. Okay.
Right. I'm looking to see if I had any notes from,
All right, that's fine. Thank you. I got it.
yeah.
All right.
So, and that was given as a covenant to Noah, to his
So are
son,
you saying,
and the sons of Noah, and that means all of us.
so are you saying that if you did not observe the Noahide laws, you couldn't live in the land of Israel?
That's what they're saying. That's what they said here in the note. It says, a Gentile who seeks to reside permanently in Eretz Yisrael is required to accept the and observe certain mitzvot. And at the end, it says, most opinions require him to observe the 7 Noahide mitzvot.
Oh. Okay.
So, it's like if it's a maidservant or a servant, a male servant, if they were living in the household, they had to observe the mitzvot of the household of the Jews.
So if you saw somebody who was praying to an idol, would you then pack their bags and send them out of Israel?
I don't know. We give them a second chance. I don't know.
I mean,
That's what I was asking. I don't know.
Maybe to remind them that if that's what they want to do, to live in Israel, that they have to observe the mitzvot. I'm sure, thousands of years ago, I'm sure people did things on the side that, other people didn't see.
but
But
here
if they
they're
really
discussing,
wanted,
but in this paragraph, they're discussing that one person was worshiping Mercury and the other one was worshiping.
no, no, they were saying, well, this is one opinion. They're trying to say, who is a ger toshav, so it said, and learn, if you go to the paragraph before, and learn from it that a ger toshav can also revoke the status of idol objects of idol worship. And now Rabbi Nachman said that he cannot revoke the status of idol worship. So the paragraph that you're referring to, this opinion is saying, well, if they both worship the same idol, the Gentile, they can each revoke it. And they're talking about Gentiles. They're not talking about the ger toshav there.
I understand, but we just said that Gentiles that worship idols can't live in Israel to begin with. So who are these people that are worshiping Mercury and where do they live?
No. The ger toshav who wants to live in Israel cannot worship idols. These were other idol worshippers who were living in.
So you didn't have to observe the Noahide laws.
If you were an idol worshiper, no.
Oh, but I thought we just said that in order to live in Israel, you had
A ger toshav, they're trying to define what a ger toshav is,
no,
not a general
Okay.
idol worshiper.
no, wait, no. We said that in order to live in Israel, you have to observe the Noahide laws.
To be a ger toshav.
Oh, but you could live in Israel and worship idols?
Yeah, they had idol worshippers. They're just
Oh,
trying.
okay, so
They're just trying to define. Rav Nachman is saying what a ger toshav is, and he's saying that a ger toshav who lives in Israel permanent cannot
Yeah.
be
No,
an
that
idol worshiper and revoke the status of idols.
I understand. What
Well,
I'm
other
trying to
people are
clarify,
saying- Yeah, some of these other people saying, no, they can revoke it, but so that's why it's going back and forth.
what I'm trying to clarify is who is allowed to live in the land of Israel. Is anybody live there? It doesn't have, you don't have to observe anything to live in the land of Israel. Is that
We've
true?
been reading like the interaction between Jews and idol worshippers. So people
Okay,
who are
that-
idol worshippers lived
all
in.
right,
Israel.
I misunderstood. I thought you couldn't live. in
Yeah,
Israel.
no, this whole sugya is trying to define who a ger toshav is. That's all
Okay,
they're doing.
okay.
And it's
But-
going
but
back.
what
and forth.
I-
Not to say that if you worship idols, you can't live there. It's what is a ger toshav?
So, but why would one living in Israel, who might have been an idol worshiper, want to be a ger toshav? I don't understand. Why
Well,
would they have to do that with strict laws like that? Why, and they're not Jewish?
You
I
mean,
don't-
why would they want to give up idol worship? If they
Well,
didn't, if they, why should they want to give that up? But apparently
Apparently, there were people who wanted to give that up, to still be a Gentile, but no longer worship the idols, I guess,
It's one thing to give up your idol worshiping, but it's another thing to have to live by these very stringent laws,
but that they accepted it.
right? I
But
guess.
they accepted it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why.
Well,
It's like somebody who's not Jewish converting, or all of a sudden,
Yeah,
no,
but-
not converting, but all of a sudden it's saying, okay, I'm gonna go to the mikveh, I'm gonna, do all of these things, I'm not gonna eat a non-kosher food, all of this stuff, for what
No,
purpose?
that's not a requirement for a ger
Yes.
toshav. They don't have to observe the halacha, they
It
just
says
have to
that-
The 7 Noahide laws.
just the
the
Noahide
7
laws.
Not all the
It's-
mitzvot.
It
Right.
says here, it's anyone who is accepted upon himself before 3 chaverim, people devoted to the meticulous observance of mitzvah, especially halachot of ritual purity, teruma, tithe, not to worship idols.
Yeah, but this is
Those are
the
the
opinion, this is the opinion of Rabbi Meir.
No, but those are,
It's not,
Those are-
it's not the final say, it's just his opinion.
no, wait. Those 3 people are the chacham who are giving are saying that, yes, you are a ger toshav. You had to be that you had to observe mitzvot in order to be even capable of bestowing upon a person that they're a ger toshav.
Right,
Not
that's,
that the person themselves is going to observe all of these laws. The
Did we
people
read
who
the-
are
did we-
judging them.
yeah,
and
but,
giving them the position of ger toshav. Those are the ones that are the chacham that they're talking about.
according to Rabbi Meir, that's
Yeah,
not
no,
according to that's according to Rabbi Meir,
No,
not
I
according
know.
to the
Read
halacha.
read the halacha on the side, the 3rd paragraph down.
Okay, one may leave him alone with.
Who was a ger toshav?
Oh, a ger toshav is a Gentile who has taken upon himself in the presence of 3 havarim, in the presence of the 3 havarim, the observance of the 7 Noahide mitzvot. This is his status with regard to the mitzvah to sustain him and other mitzvot as well. With regard to his wine and his handling of a Jew's wine, any Gentile who is known to not worship idolatry is equivalent to a ger toshav in accordance with the statement of Rav Yehuda on the following Talmud. So what they're saying is, here it is, this is interesting. What they're saying is a person who's a ger toshav can handle wine for Jews, because we learn that Gentiles can't touch the wine that Jews are drinking, right? Then it's not kosher, the wine, any longer if a Gentile touches it. But
Okay, but
here
the
they're
ger-
sort of
The
giving.
ger toshav, though, is accepting the laws not to worship idols. So he's
Right.
not going to do any kind of libation. So it's
Right.
okay.
Right, so that's why they can touch the wine.
Right.
But-
No, not touch, only leave it, the following,
They can pour it.
no, leave them alone with. That's not the same as touching. The
Well, with
following
regard to
paragraph.
his wine and his handling of a Jew's wine. So what does handling of a Jew's wine mean? That's touching it and serving it and
Wait, where
whatever
does
you
it say
do,
handling?
right? However you handle wine. But the
I don't
people
know.
that are bestowing that concept of a ger toshav, those are the ones who are the chacham. The ger toshav themselves is not required.
No, I understand that. No, I understand that.
That's the opinion of Rabbi Meir, that you have, that anyone who wants to become a ger toshav has to go before the 3 chavarim have to, certify the person.
Right.
Yes, but they have to obey the mitzvot.
Only the Noahide.
No, not the mitzvot, Noah
The laws, the 7 laws,
Right.
7, not all the mitzvot.
right? So, but.
But what?
tell
If
me
you
again
read the
what
next
they are.
thing,
Tell me again what they are, the 7 laws?
The 7 laws is not to blaspheme, not to curse God, not to worship idols, not
Right.
to commit adultery, and there's going to be a funny story soon, a weird story, not to commit murder, not to steal, not to eat the blood of a live animal,
Right,
and the obligation is to establish a court.
a court, right.
So
Okay, all right, so it's not all the other
those are
stuff.
the things. And the people, and they're just saying, when they're talking about pure ritual, period, terum, and tithe, they're talking about,
Gail just froze.
and that's just, who froze? Who froze?
You did.
I did?
Yeah, you
Oh,
did.
Oh, wow, that's
Oh.
never. Yeah, and they're just the chaver was the person learned
All right,
in following mitzvot, as opposed to a haaretz. So they can't go before anybody. And any Jew, it has to be a chaver, somebody who is. Okay.
If you look at the next note or halacha, one may leave him alone with wine.
right,
With regard to a ger toshav, and similarly a Gentile who does not worship idolatry.
Where are
For
you reading?
example,
Where are you from? Reading
the
from?
halacha, the last one may leave him alone with wine. With regard to a ger toshav, and similarly a Gentile who does not worship idolatry, for example, a Muslim, it is permitted to leave wine with him in the domain of a Jew for a brief time, even in a town in which the residents are Gentiles. And even if the Jew notifies the Gentile that he's leaving, one may not deposit wine.
Uh-oh.
No, it was Iris who was
If I
free.
did so, it is
yeah,
prohibited
Cyrus,
Iris.
to drink
Yeah, so can
wine.
we read on because it's going to explain all this. We can go.
Okay, sure, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Iris, you're the one who was freezing.
Okay,
you went on,
let's
yeah,
go on to the next part
No,
then.
but we only got through the 2 opinions. There's a 3rd opinion, and then the bright at the bottom is about the one who leaves. One may leave him alone with wine, but
yeah, I have a question.
But there's a time element.
Right, 20 minutes, right?
There's only a time element, and the word brief is the key word. For
So if you have a servant in your house who's a non-Jew and you leave, you have to come back within 20 minutes, or they have to leave the house, basically, right? Because it's a time period, it says 20 minutes.
All
Yeah,
right,
but for wine, it's only for wine.
For wine, yeah, so then you can't drink that wine if you leave your house and the servant's in the house.
all right, could I?
Okay, go ahead, sorry, I just wanted to.
No, not sorry, it's good that this back and forth is great. We don't usually do this as much. It's great. Others say, but this is the 3rd opinion. Others say these have not entered the category of ger toshav, rather, meaning the 2 above. The first opinion of Rabbi Meir and the rabbi. So now the others say these have not entered the category of ger toshav. Rather, who is a ger toshav? This is a convert who eats unslaughtered animal carcasses, which are not kosher, but who has accepted upon himself to observe all the mitzvot that are stated in the Torah, except for the prohibition against eating unslaughtered carcasses.
Wow.
Oh, that's a whole different.
Why
ballgame.
would that be an exception? That's why would in the Torah that's an exception? Okay. The Baraita continues. Whatever the definition of a ger toshav, the following halachot apply to him. One may leave him alone with wine briefly, that's the key word, without Jewish supervision, with no concern that he might use it for a libation. thereby rendering it forbidden to Jews, as he is not an idol worshiper. But one may not deposit wine with him for an extended period of time, lest he exchange it with the wine of a Gentile, which is forbidden. And this applies even in a town that has a Jewish majority. But one may leave him alone with wine briefly, without Jewish supervision, even in a town with a majority of Gentiles. His oil is treated like his wine in terms of permissibility. All right, does it say anything about the? Okay.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes, approximately 20 minutes, it
No,
says.
no, that's not what I was saying. I was
Oh,
going to the top of the next page. I have a note here, is like the. Yeah, the wine of the Ger Toshav is like their shemen, their oil, only forbidden to drink. To use. The Gemara interjects, his oil is like his wine. Can this enter your mind? Does the oil of a Gentile become, that is, assume the status of wine used for libation? Rather, the Baraita should be amended as follows. His wine is like his oil. It is permitted to derive benefit from it, but not to consume it.
okay.
They don't want the interactions with the non-Jews, basically.
Right.
On the left, rather his wine is like his oil. Excuse me. It says it is permitted to derive benefit from his oil, but it was not permitted to consume it, as at that time consuming a Gentile's oil was still considered forbidden. So is the halacha with regard to wine of a Ger Toshav. The reason for this, according to the Ra'avad, is either the concern lest a Gentile handle the wine, or the concern lest such interaction lead to intermarriage. That always comes up. That you're going to drink the wine, you're going to use the oil, and you're going to marry somebody who's not Jewish. Does that follow? Irish, you're muted. You're muted.
I was laughing and saying, that's so funny.
What?
It's so funny.
Yeah, right. You drink the wine, you can't use the oil because you might marry somebody who's not Jewish.
That's going to make the difference.
I wonder if there was intermarriage with
Because-
those people.
Of course, you're muted again, Iris. You keep muting. Yeah, listen, I mean, I went to public school, and public school has a lot of, and then when you start getting older and you start wanting to date, don't you hear things, who you should be dating, who you should not be dating?
Very, very loudly.
So-
Very loudly.
Huh?
Yeah, there was no fooling around in my house.
Well, I mean, which people were suitable and which people were not suitable,
Even a Jew who was not religious was not
but was not suitable. Well,
suitable.
yeah. I'm still on the notes. His wine is wine used for libation. This is not because of the convert himself, since he does not pour libations from it, but because he is not stringent about other Gentiles handling it. So you just
Right.
don't,
Okay, that makes
worry
sense.
about, who he interacts with.
Right, makes sense.
Drinking is permitted. There is no concern with regard to handling the wine, as he does not engage in idol worship and certainly is careful with regard to another Gentile handling it. Moreover, although the ordinance rendering the wine of Gentiles prohibited is also due to the concern of intermarriage, its main motivation is to distance Jews from idolatry. That's the main motivation. Not the handling, they're just afraid that once they handle it or whatever, they're going to just turn to idol worship because that's what they see, especially in the page before when they say, even if the majority was non-Jews, but when people are living in the same area and they see other people doing things, curiosity. And,
So this doesn't seem like a contradiction, the first sentence and the second, or unless I'm not reading it properly.
there is no
The
concern.
first sentence, there's no concern.
about
right?
handling the wine with wine. Moreover, although ordinance rendering the wine of Gentiles prohibited is due to the
So in the first sentence, it says there's no concern.
of him handling it. Well, that's handling the wine, but it might lead to the concern of, you know, of intermarriage because they're interacting. One is handling wine and one is intermarriage. The
I
two
don't know,
different,
right.
two different concerns. That's how I see
But
it.
they're saying you can, there's no concern about his handling the wine. Okay. If there's no concern about him handling the wine and a Jew is able to drink that wine, right? The next sentence is saying
No, it's forbidden to drink it. The wine of the Ger Toshav, it can be handled, but they can't drink it. They can't drink it, Tina.
okay. All right. Yeah, it goes back to the first one, I guess.
Yeah, but the last line, since the Ger Toshav does not worship idolatry, although it is prohibited to marry him, the main reasons for the ordinance does not apply.
Right.
All right, so I'm on the second paragraph, I guess. The Baraita continues, and with regard to all other matters, a Ger Toshav is treated like a Gentile. Rabban Shimon says, his wine is treated like wine used for libation. And some say he says even drinking is permitted. All right, so I said he couldn't drink it, but some say that he can. The Gemara comments on the Baraita. In any event, the Baraita teaches, and with regard to all other matters, a Ger Toshav is treated like a Gentile. With regard to what halakha is this stated, it is not teaching that he can revoke the status of an object of idol worship. Is it not teaching that he can revoke the status of an object of idol worship as a Gentile can? Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, no. It is stated with regard to giving away rights in a domain, renouncing rights in a domain, in the context of the halachot of joining houses in courtyards on Shabbat. I mean, as I'm studying Daf Yomi and I'm reading a topic, all of a sudden, when they start throwing in all these other things, like why are they talking about a domain now?
Right.
So anyway, let's see.
Are
As
they talking about Eruvim?
courtyard, you know, the common courtyard where you put the food together for Shabbat, you know, like, and then then you can use, you know, the domain, the common area. But if a Gentile lives
So
there,
are they making an Eruv? Are they
Yeah,
making an Eruv then?
yeah, I guess so. It's allowing them to all, you know, they contribute food to the common area. So, you know, and if a Jew doesn't want to contribute to the common area, then he messes up the whole process of using the common area. So now a Gentile, what if a Gentile lives there?
So weren't you supposed to build like two separations? Didn't we just learn that recently? Remember we learned like in case of idol worshiping, the trees or whatever.
They're not going into that in here. They're just trying to define who is a Ger Toshav. Yeah, so, you know, all of that is good, you know, to remembering all that. And this is as it is taught in a Baraita. An apostate Jew who nevertheless observes his Shabbat in the marketplace, that is, in public, can renounce his rights in the shared domain so that other Jews in the domain may carry it on Shabbat. But an apostate who does not observe his Shabbat, even in the marketplace, cannot renounce his rights in a domain, because the sages said that only a Jew can give away rights in his domain or renounce his rights to his domain. And this applies in the context of joining houses and courtyards on Shabbat. You know, he could say, I'm giving up my rights. that's without making a, what's the word, kinyan, an acquisition. He doesn't have to have, they don't have to have an acquisition. He just says, I'm not, I'm giving up my rights, so you can do what you want with the courtyard. But with regard to a Gentile, this is not effective unless the Jew leases his domain in the courtyard. So if there's a non-Jew living in the courtyard prior to Shabbat, he has to say, I want to rent your space for Shabbat, and he pays him. How so? A Jew may say to another Jew, my rights in this domain are hereby acquired by you, or my rights in this domain are hereby renounced to you, and the other Jew thereby acquires those rights. And it is not necessary for him to take possession of it through a formal act of acquisition. I don't know. Do you want to read any of the notes?
You could read the
Apostate Jew.
the notes, the fourth note can give his domain. I'll read it. If the
Okay.
residents of a courtyard or an alleyway did not all join their houses, then any resident who has an entrance that is open to the courtyard or alleyway prevents the others from carrying within it on Shabbat. The sages state that a Jew living in the courtyard can renounce his domain in favor of the others, and then it is permitted for all of the residents to carry within the courtyard or alleyway.
Yeah, he can just renounce it, say, it's yours. They don't have to acquire it. They don't have to do a kinyan. And at the bottom, on the halacha, Jew can give his domain or renounce his domain. If a resident of a courtyard forgot to join houses with the others, this renders it prohibited for them to carry items within the courtyard on Shabbat. He can rectify this by renouncing his domain by stating, my domain is transferred to you, or my domain is renounced in your favor. It is not necessary to perform an act of acquisition by means of a cloth. So is that the same thing with the handkerchief at the marriage?
And also, like when you sell your chametz, you
Right.
sometimes it's a cloth.
It's the same thing with a divorce. You do the same thing. Yeah.
Speaking of a divorce, when we were studying, I guess, Yevamot, and they were talking about chalitza, and I found on YouTube modern day, when the woman, when a man dies childless and his brother is then required to, and if they don't want the union, they have to perform the ceremony of chalitza, where she spits and throws the shoe down. And so I went on YouTube and I found modern day, one in France and one in Israel. It was interesting, to watch the modern day that they still do that. That's just an aside. I just came in my head. All right. The Gemara relates. Rabbi, now they're going to be talking about gifts. The Gemara relates, Rabbi Yehuda sent a gift to a Gentile named Avidarna on their festival day. That should be, Rabbi Yehuda sent a gift to a Gentile named Avidarna on, their festival day.
Yeah.
I would say his festival day, but whatever. Rav Yehuda said, I know of him that he does not worship idols. So he is not considered a Gentile with regard to the prohibition against giving a gift to a Gentile on their festival. Rav Yosef said to him, but isn't it taught in a Baraita, who is a ger toshav? Is anyone who has accepted upon himself before 3 chaverim to not worship idols? Avidarna had not accepted this upon himself before 3 Jews, even though he didn't worship idols, he didn't observe the laws. Rav Yehuda replied to him, when that Baraita is taught, it is with regard to the mitzvah of to sustain him.
I don't understand that. What does that mean?
Well, let's look at the note on the side, to sustain him. It is a mitzvah to sustain a ger toshav. In addition, one should perform kindness with him as one would with a Jew, I guess, to provide for him food or whatever if he, and then
Right.
the mitzvah is based on the verse, and if your brother become poor and his means fail with you, then you shall uphold him as a stranger and a settler. Ger v'tashav, shall he live with you? Then shall he live with you. In addition, the verse states with regard to the unslaughtered animal carcass, you may give to the stranger ger that is within your gates, that he may eat it, or you may sell it to a foreigner. So I get from which it is derived that there is a mitzvah to give the carcass to a ger toshav as a gift. So
Yeah, but this man is not, this paragraph is not referring to a ger toshav. That first paragraph, it's just to somebody who's
no, but
not,
yeah. Yeah, because he said at the beginning, it says that Avidarna did not accept that he did not worship idols, but didn't say he was a ger toshav. But then Rav Yosef said, but isn't it taught who is a ger toshav? And it goes on to say that that he took that he went before the three chaverim to not worship idols, and this Avidaner evidently didn't. So that's, I guess, the comment.
yeah,
Rav Yosef further objected, because Rabbi Yosef is objecting to what Rav Yehuda said.
yeah.
So Rav Yosef further objected.
Thank
Excuse me. But doesn't Rabbi Bar Fana say that Rabbi Yochanan says a ger toshav for whom 12 months passed without him circumcising himself is considered as a heretic of the Gentiles, and certainly this Avidana is not circumcised. Yeah, but we never read that he had to circumcise himself.
Right, right,
So we never read that. So this is just, another opinion.
right.
There, Rabbi Yehuda replied, there, Rabbi Yochanan is referring to a case where the Gentile who desired to become a ger toshav took it upon himself to become circumcised, but he recanted and did not circumcise himself. And in such a case, it is assumed that he did not circumcise himself due to apostasy. Like he renounced his beliefs. Generally, in the case of a ger toshav who did not take this upon himself, this is not required of him. So they're saying that he doesn't have to be circumcised. Does everybody agree that that's what it says?
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
so.
but and the Noahide laws don't require him to be
Right.
circumcised.
Right, exactly.
That's what we just said. They don't. There are no hard laws
Yeah.
don't require it. So he took it upon himself, but then he decided not to. But it doesn't matter. The Gemara relates. Rav Yehuda brought a gift to this Avidan, and now Rava is going to bring a gift to a minister. This is a weird story. The Gemara relates. Rava brought a gift to a minister named Bar Sheshach on their festival day. Rava said, I know of him that he does not worship idols. So this man does not worship idols, according to Rava. Rava went and found him sitting up to his neck in rose water, and naked prostitutes were standing before him. Bar Sheshach said to him, do you have anything as fine as this in the world to come? Rava said to him, ours is better than this. Bar Sheshach said to him, is there anything finer than this? Rava said to him, you have the fear of the government upon you. We will not have the fear of the government upon us in the world to come. Bar Sheshach said to him, as for me, in any event, what fear of the government is there upon me? I am a powerful man. Like he's a rich, powerful man and whatever. Wouldn't you think that Rava, when he walked in on this, would just turn around and walk out? But evidently he didn't.
He was enjoying the show.
Rabbi Kogan did a early on when I first started going to his twist stories on Monday afternoon. he did a story about very similar to this, if
Maybe
not
it was,
the same one.
maybe it was this story, because right now Rava is like making an assumption, and saying, well, you have the fear of your government upon you. Well, how does he know whether, because then the other guy says, fear of the government upon me, in other words, I'm powerful, and it says,
Right.
and I'm a powerful man and then then look what happens. While they were sitting, a certain royal officer came and said to Bar Shesha, rise, as the king requires you to appear before him. As he was going out, he said to Rava, may an eye that wishes to see evil upon you burst, as it is clear that you were correct. Rava said to him, Amen. And then Bar Shesha's eye burst, because
Right.
evidently he was wishing, evil upon Rava. So,
Right.
um,
You gotta
know,
watch
like-
what you say.
yeah, that's basically it. I was going to say, don't question, what people are saying, because you never know what they're meaning.
Well, he was pretty powerful, though. Look what happened to him. Just by his
To
own words.
himself.
But he put the curse on himself that
I
way.
know. I mean,
It was supposed to be on others, but it turned
a powerful curse.
It goes to show
So then
you
the question
watch-
is,
You have to watch what you say.
yeah, that's what Iris just said.
Yeah.
But also, so he doesn't worship idols. But to go to prostitutes, that's okay. Idol worship is a no, but prostitutes, it seems to be okay.
Well, it's not in the Noahide laws. It's okay.
Well, if he's married, then, but they say for men, it's not. I
No,
mean,
but
adults,
there's-
is that just for
but
women?
That's not one of the laws. Is that one of the laws, not committing adultery?
Yes,
Oh,
Yes.
it is. Yeah.
yes,
that's-
yes.
Oh.
Or not to commit adultery or sexual immorality, not just adultery.
Oh,
sexual
okay.
Yeah,
Immorality.
but it doesn't say that he's a Noahide.
No. They're just a story that was thrown in, because Rav Yehuda was saying that he can bring a gift to the Gentile, and now Rava brought a gift to somebody.
Right.
It doesn't
No,
say
because-
no. He's
Because he knew he wasn't an idol worshiper. That's why.
Yeah.
So he was
Yeah. He's just not an idol worshiper. That's it.
but he doesn't, yeah. Well.
Yeah, well, the story is questioning, it's like, who are you to say that, who, if somebody worships idols or doesn't worship idols, who are you to comment? I think, I don't know. Let's see, I wrote some things here, but it's in pencil and maybe the burst I also maybe he was trying to lure Rava to join him. So, it backfired on him too. All right. I just thought that was a strange story to throw in here.
Well, I think it has to do with the power of God. That
And-
he doesn't. Sheshka didn't believe in God, and he thought he was more powerful. And this is sort of indicating that God is all powerful.
So we were up to the last
Poppy
Yeah.
said, Rava
Yeah.
should have said a response to him from this verse. King's daughters are among your favorites. At your right hand stands the queen in gold of Ophir, indicating that in the world to come, the daughters of kings will serve the Jewish people. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak said, he should have said a response to him from here. The reward of the Jewish people will be such that no eye has seen it. God, aside from you, you will do for those.
Who will do?
What?
Who will do?
Who will do for those who await him? No eye has, in other words, on the right, I'm on the right. In other words, a state of existence beyond what humans can know and imagine is the world promised to those who fulfill God's will. Right, it's
Right.
not, yeah, what, adding to what Judy said. I don't think we have to read anything about the personalities. Idol worship, who really knows? Yeah, no, yeah, nobody really knows what somebody else, is going to do. If you give if you give a gift to, even though he's not like when you give a gift to somebody, you don't know what they're gonna do with it. You don't, they're gonna keep it or re-gift it, you should, and even if you don't like it, you don't say, oh, I can't use this, whatever. You just say thank you, and then whatever you do with it, now your possession to do with it as you please.
So does that mean if it's a halacha, right?
It's not
Then
where.
you keep on the top right of 349.
Oh, we didn't read that.
So if someone is an idol worshiper,
Why don't you read the
all right,
whole
I
thing?
know of him that he does not worship. It is prohibited to send a gift to a Gentile on a festival day of idol worship unless one knows that the Gentile does not recognize and worship idols in accordance with the incident related in the Gemara involving Rav Yehuda and Avidama, and the incident, I can't even see, and the incident involving Rava and Bar Shesha. Oh, Shesha.
Yeah, they're saying that you can give a Gentile a gift on their festival if it's known that they are not idol worshipers.
Okay, so that means in
So it's
present
not
day,
so if you give a gift to a Gentile on their festival, the fear is that they'll use it for their
towards
ceremony,
their idol worship.
towards their idol worship. So
Right,
they
so that means that we learned, I think we learned, if memory serves, again, in Sanhedrin, that, Judy, do you remember this? I don't remember who else was in the class on
Right.
Sanhedrin. Iris, were you in that?
Yes, I was.
You could do it 3 days before or 3 days after? Something's ringing a bell about that. But so does that mean in present day, since this is a halacha, that we can't give?
But something
a
that you can
gift?
Google. Why don't you Google it? Can you give a gift to a non-Jew prior to their festival?
You
I
mean
mean-
like for Christmas or
like a
something?
Christmas-
Yeah, I'm
It's
saying
cool.
Christmas, we give gifts to people who are
Right.
Christians, right?
Right.
When I taught, we always exchange. I mean, even they had the Secret Santa, and I
Right,
Yeah.
kind of was upset about that at one point, but I one year decided to join, and every gift that I received was for Hanukkah. The person
was
was
nice.
the person was sensitive enough to not give me Christmas wrapping,
yeah,
Hanukkah socks or dreidel, whatever I got, it was all related to Hanukkah.
right. No, but I'm saying in general, now, does that, I'm gonna see if I can find.
Google it.
I'll look in Sanhedrin, I think I remember.
Yeah.
Let
I
us
mean,
remember
the
something about
synagogue-
you can't do it then, you can do it 3 days before or 3 days after or something.
That I don't
The
recall.
synagogue gives gifts to the workers who are Jewish and non-Jewish. Everybody
Right.
gets a gift.
Right, right.
So I read the next sugya, but it's already late. We spent a long time, but it was a good session. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
We had a good interaction today.
Yes.
I like the interaction, because I
So
don't feel stupid
are we
asking.
stopping here then?
Shouldn't we?
It's 9:25, yeah, I
think
have,
so.
I
Okay.
have,
I agree. I think there's no reason to be running through it as fast as we do. and
Yeah,
not-
I like this. I like the session better today because we
Yeah.
really spent
We
time.
talked about it more.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
mean, we don't have a time frame. We must finish the.
No, we don't.
right?
This is
Sometimes I
fun.
feel we're just reading and reading and reading, and it was good that we had all this
Right.
interaction today. I really
agree.
liked it.
I agree.
yeah,
And the
and I don't
Wednesday-
feel
and the
stupid
Wednesday
asking stupid
class was-
questions.
The Wednesday class was better also because we talked more.
Yes.
I think
yes.
it's better because you understand more then. It's just, when you're going fast, it's like, okay, what did you get from it? I don't know.
No,
It's much better this way.
you're absolutely right.
I couldn't
agree.
unfortunately, I'm gonna ask for the tip. I really wasn't feeling well. I just couldn't concentrate on Wednesday, so I really don't remember what happened.
I thought
I-
Rabbi
and then
Kogan did better than usual.
No,
Maybe
I
because The week
Of Ra-
before, when Rabbi Wise was there, it was very good between the two of them. And they said, I hope you don't feel that you're at a Havruta.
Right,
I was in a Talmud class with Rabbi Wise. I'm in a Talmud class the hour before, and I sent him an email. I was kind of apologizing because I was the only one on Zoom on Wednesday, and everybody's in person now. And I said, and he knows I'm in the class afterwards. He said,
Right.
I hope it doesn't inconvenience you or the group. He said, no, I'm glad you're, in the other class. I said, I'm revisiting Rosh Hashanah. Because we finished that in the cycle of Daf Yomi, but it's better to, do it with the rabbi. Yeah, no, I like it. So what I'm going to try to do even with Rosh Hashanah and it's kind of to read ahead to know what we're going to be discussing. So,
Right, makes more sense that
and
way.
it's good to be in front of a computer because I can then just Google if I have a question and look something up and then whatever. All right,
Very good.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm going
right,
back.
Okay,
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom. Feel
shalom,
better.
everybody.
yeah, be well, everybody, have a
Take
good
care.
week.
If you hear about Cheryl after Shabbat, you have the email, just email. If you find out anything, all right, thanks.
Yeah,
All right.
Ted, I hope you're feeling better.
No, it's just a head cold.
Yes. All right, bye.
Shabbat
Bye-bye.
shalom.